There's a specific kind of exhaustion you carry, the kind that doesn't show up in your face, or your posture, or your voice, but in your spirit. It's the quiet fatigue of constantly being the good one, the dependable one, the patient one, the understanding one, the one who keeps giving, even when you're running on emotional fumes. People think kindness is effortless, but you know the truth. Your kindness is work, a lifelong job, a role you never applied for, yet somehow became responsible for. You are the person who softens your tone even when you're hurt. You are the person who forgives before the apology even arrives. You are the person who tries to understand why they acted the way they did, even when nobody tries to understand you. But here's the part that stings the most. The more kind you are, the more invisible you feel. The more you give, the more people assume you have more to give. The more patient you are, the more others take advantage of that patience. You see, people love your kindness until that kindness asks for something in return. Then suddenly, you're too sensitive, too emotional, too much, and so you shrink again. You swallow the hurt. You tell yourself you're overreacting. You convince yourself that continuing to be kind is the safest option. This is your paradox. The kindness that once protected you is now the kindness that betrays you. The trait that made you lovable is now the trait that makes you exploitable. The thing that made you feel safe is now the thing that leaves you unprotected, because somewhere in your childhood, you learned a dangerous lesson. If I am good, maybe they'll stay. If I am good, maybe they won't get angry. If I am good, maybe I'll finally be worthy. You didn't become kind because you're weak. You became kind because you're adaptive, because you learned that being soft was safer than being honest, that being agreeable was safer than being visible, that being kind was safer than having needs. And now, as an adult, your kindness is no longer a shield. People use it. People depend on it. People drain it, until the very thing that once kept you safe slowly becomes a weapon pointed at your own well-being. Today, we're going to break this down, not to demonize kindness, not to turn you into someone hardened or cynical, but to finally show you why your kindness became twisted into something painful and how you can take it back. Let's put a name to this kind of person. Let's give language to something you've lived in silence. This archetype is shaped by conditional goodness, the belief that love, safety, and acceptance are earned by being good, quiet, or selfless. And three major psychological mechanisms create it. Point 1. Fawn response. Most people know. Fight, flight, freeze. But there's a fourth trauma response. Fawning is when your nervous system attempts to create safety by pleasing others, appeasing them, anticipating their needs, or softening yourself to avoid conflict, rejection, or emotional danger. Fawning sounds like, I don't want you to be upset. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. It's okay. I understand. Whatever works for you, it's not a big deal. But here's the truth. It is a big deal. Because every time you fawn, you push your own identity a little further away. Your kindness becomes a tool for survival, not a trait, a strategy. 2. Hypervigilant empathy. This is not normal empathy. This is overdeveloped empathy, created by unstable or unpredictable emotional environments. You learned early on that the smallest shift in someone's tone could signal danger, that the slightest change in their expression could mean something was wrong and you needed to fix it. So your brain became a sensor, a radar, a constant interpreter of other people's emotional signals. This is why you notice everything, why you feel everything, why you absorb everything, even things that were never yours. It's not that you're too emotional. It's that you were taught to monitor the emotional atmosphere to stay safe. Your kindness was never just kindness. It was vigilance dressed as virtue. 3. Identity diffusion through approval. This is where the damage becomes neurological. Your default mode network, the part of your brain that creates your sense of self, gets shaped around external approval. Meaning, you don't ask, "What do I want?" You ask, "What will make them happy?" You don't think, "Is this good for me?" You think, "Is this acceptable to them?" You become a person whose identity is reactive, not grounded. And when your identity depends on staying good, pleasant, and available, your kindness stops being a virtue and becomes a requirement for self-worth. These mechanisms intertwine. They create a version of you who survives through goodness, even when that goodness harms you. And now we have to talk about the emotional toll. There is a specific grief inside people whose kindness has been weaponized. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, but it is persistent. It is the grief of being misunderstood, not because you hide your pain, but because you've been conditioned to hide it so well that nobody assumes you have any. You experience the pain of being the strong one, and therefore never being checked on, being the patient one, and therefore never being prioritized, being the understanding one, and therefore never being understood, being the forgiving one, and therefore constantly being hurt. This is the moral injury of being the kind one, and the deepest wound of all is this. People think your kindness is infinite, but you know it comes from a place of emptiness, not abundance. You give because you don't want to lose people. You give because you don't want to disappoint anyone. You give because you don't want to be seen as difficult or selfish. And slowly, kindness becomes a cage, a role, a costume. You become the caretaker, even when you need care. You become the listener, even when you need to be heard. You become the giver, even when you are bone-dry. The philosopher Khalil Gibran once wrote, "The most pitiful among men is he who turns his dreams into gold and silver. But the most pitiful among hearts is the one who turns its kindness into currency, something spent to maintain love rather than shared freely from abundance." You know what it feels like to give kindness, not as an expression, but as a negotiation. You know what it feels like to be loved conditionally, and to love conditionally in return because you don't know any other way. And this is the part that hurts the most. You don't trust that you deserve love without being useful. That is the true cost. Let's bring this into adulthood, because this pattern doesn't stay in childhood. It follows you into every part of your life. Here's what it looks like. Point 1. Relationships. With emotional imbalance, you attract people who take because you don't know how to stop giving. You end up with partners who don't reciprocate, don't apologize, don't consider your needs, don't hold emotional space for you, not because you want this, but because your nervous system finds it familiar. 2. Difficulty saying no without guilt. You say yes to plans you hate, favors you don't have time for, and emotional labor you don't have the capacity to carry. No feels dangerous, no feels selfish, no feels like abandonment, not of others, but of the identity you rely on. 3. Chronic overaccommodation. You adjust your personality based on who you're with. You mirror their preferences. You adapt to their moods. You suppress your irritation. You minimize your hurt. Your kindness becomes a performance, not because you want to be fake, but because you don't feel safe being real. 4. Emotional exhaustion. With no explanation, you get tired in ways you can't articulate. Not physically, not even mentally, emotionally, because being good is exhausting when goodness is a requirement, not a choice. Point 5. Over-explaining to avoid misunderstanding. You write paragraphs instead of sentences. You apologize before you ask for anything. You justify your needs like they're criminal offenses. This isn't politeness. It's fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being rejected. Fear of being perceived as unkind. 6. Anger that only shows up internally. You rarely get angry outwardly, but inside, you feel resentment, frustration, exhaustion. You're not angry at others. You're angry at the role you feel trapped in. You're angry at yourself for not knowing how to break it. And here's the key. These are not personality traits. These are coping strategies. highly intelligent, highly adaptive strategies. Before you can unlearn them, you must first witness them without judgment. Healing starts with honesty, with the recognition that your kindness was shaped by fear, not by freedom. So, how do you unlearn a lifetime of conditional goodness? How do you reclaim kindness as something sacred instead of something exploited? Here's where the real work begins. 1. Inner child must return to the version of you who believed kindness was the only safe identity. And you must tell them, you are allowed to be loved without giving anything. You are allowed to have needs. You are allowed to disappoint people. You are allowed to rest. Inner child work is not about imagination. It is about rewriting neural pathways that formed around fear. 2. Shadow work. Kindness became a shield, but behind every shield lies a shadow. Your shadow contains your anger, your boundaries, your unmet needs, your authentic desires, your resentment, your voice, your truth. You must bring these pieces back, not to become harsh, but to become whole. Carl Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Your darkness is not evil. It is simply the part of you that was never allowed to exist. 3. Practicing unconditional self-permission. You practice saying, "No, I can't. I'm tired. That doesn't work for me. I need help. I don't like that." Not because you want conflict, but because you deserve a life that includes you. 4. Choosing softness but for yourself. You spent your entire life offering softness outward. Now, you must learn to offer it inward. Softness does not mean weakness. Softness means truth. Softness means rest. Softness means living without constantly negotiating your worth. 5. Redefining kindness as a gift, not a currency. Your kindness is beautiful, but it is not obligation. It is not payment. It is not the price of admission for love or belonging. Kindness is only meaningful when it is given from freedom, not fear. Your kindness is not the problem. The environments that punished your authenticity and rewarded your self-erasure, those were the problem. You were never too kind. You were simply kind at your own expense, and you deserved better. You still do. Your presence is not a tool. Your heart is not a service. Your goodness is not a weapon to be used against you. Your kindness is allowed to stay, but it must stay with you first. If this resonated with you, share it with someone whose kindness feels heavy. And if you want more videos like this, subscribe not because you need fixing, but because you deserve to understand why you are the way you are, and how to finally become whole.